confirmation of our first match earlier on this evening. John Higgins, 4-time champion of the world, could do no more than take 2 frames off Peter Evans, 2 centuries as well, and he swaps round with Judd, but he still qualifies for final weekend along with Stuart Bingham, but there is 1 place left. A draw is good enough for Ding. Neil needs to win tonight. Right, let's meet the players, and first up is the 2 times UK champion. And Ding's opponent is Neil Robertson. Neil Robertson, without any shadow of a doubt, one of the best players in the world at the moment. A big game and an interesting game as well tonight, because a draw no good, you must win it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thanks to my 6-0 loss to Stuart Bingham a few weeks ago. So yeah, it's left me a lot of work to do tonight. Yeah, nothing other than a win will do.
Does it make it any different, do you think, for your opponent, knowing he only needs to get 3? Because Willie Thorne seems to think that's a disadvantage.
Oh, look, you just got to go out there and play and see what happens. You know, I don't think you can, you play for draws or anything like that. I think, Ding's just going to play as he would any other way. So, I'm going to do the same.
Will you approach it any differently to a normal game?
No, not really. Although I've got a bit of a trek back to Cambridge, so I want to finish pretty early tonight. Yeah, I'll play my shots, have a bit of fun. We'll see what happens.
Good luck, Neil Robertson, everyone. Thanks, Neil. Yeah, the man in charge for our second match tonight, as was the first, is Paul Collier. And a quick reminder, you can send us a question via the gift of Twitter at Sky Snooker. Let's rejoin our boys of the box. Willie Thorne, and first up, Phil Yates.
Thanks a lot, Andy. Yes, 2 overseas players, Australia against China. And it's all down to this. It's always good when the qualifying process comes to a conclusion with a match that's very much live,
first frame
with qualification implications attached.
Yes, we've had some wonderful overseas players, the likes of Thorburn and Eddie Charlton, but I think these 2 are probably the best 2 overseas players ever. I don't think there's 2 better overseas players than these 2. The only thing that surprises me is that Ding's not won the World Championship yet. He is an excellent player. The only one on show this evening, of course, who hasn't won the World Championship. Just played it hard enough not to leave the outside red, but I think he can get through to a potable red here. There's an easy safety shot on it if he doesn't fancy it. There's a gap he can go through here to pot this red.
Our first match tonight, it was the 22nd meeting between Ebden and Higgins. Surprisingly, this is only the 6th time these two have crossed cues.
9.
And who has the upper hand at the moment?
Well, marginally, Robertson. 3 wins against 2. And worryingly for Ding, Robertson has won their 3 most recent meetings.
Yes, of the 2 players, I was just going to suggest that I think Ding's probably the better break builder. I would
16.
suggest now Robertson has become a better match player.
All around the world, Ding is always well supported, particularly in China, and I think that's to his detriment when he plays in tournaments over there. He feels under a heap of pressure.
Yes, when you consider like 100 million watch Ding when he plays snooker in China. In the UK, wherever he plays,
24.
there's always at least 40 or 50 people in the audience that are from Chinese origin. I must admit, I do put him in the Hendry classes and the O'Sullivan class as far as breakbuilding is concerned. Okay, he hasn't made so many centuries as those 2 players, but he plays exactly the right shot in the balls. You know, plays to go into them when he should, plays to hit them thin when he should, or thick when he should, never misses a trick. And Peter Ebden, the victor in the first round match, told me before Ding came on the scene, this lad is very, very special. And boy, he is very special.
Well, case in point there. Classy positional shot. It looked complex, but that was
32.
entirely intentional.
Yes, he's made over
33.
200 147s, I think, in practice. Made a couple in tournament play. And it appears, albeit he only needs 3 frames from tonight's match to go into the semi-final, he appears to be in good stroke.
40.
Has he won a tournament this year, Phil? Ding?
Well, he won the Championship League last season to get into this event, and he also won the Welsh Open as well,
41.
major world ranking event. Because he burst to prominence at such a junior age, he was 18 when he won as a wildcard in the China Open in Beijing in 2005. Sometimes, and I'm as guilty as anyone, sometimes people
46.
assume he's a little older than he is. He's still only 25.
Slightly astray with that shot. Okay, the pink is still available in the middle, but as you can see, it's going to be hampered. It's good news for him that as we see this shot again, he played to kiss that red 4 ball and kiss it half ball. He does have that one remaining loose thread on the left-hand side of the table that he can just roll this pink in and get on. Maybe playing from virtually just past the blue spot area. That's there. He just came round to look whether this was a shot to nothing, i.e. can he pot it and go round the back of the black? Well, the natural angle is not there. If he pots it plain ball, he'll kiss the black. So he's got to do something with the cue ball here to avoid the cannon. This is one of those shots where sometimes you can play to pot it thin, i.e. play it off the left-hand jaw to make yourself go around the back of the black, and of course then if you hit it
53.
in the middle of the pocket, you kiss the black, so it can make you look silly sometimes, this shot. He may even decide to stun him between that gap there of the red and black. But he's not playing it, he's found an alternative. And that alternative is only a safety.
Ding Junhui, 53.
I've said this on numerous occasions when Neil Robertson's playing. When he first came over to this country, he resided in Leicester for about a year, and we had about 7 pros playing at my club in Leicester at the time, and he was about the 7th best player. He lost his tour card, he had to go back to kind of tour school again and try and get it, and then all of a sudden he just found the clue. And I think, along with Mark Selby, he's the most improved player I've ever seen. He's always one of those, like a Perryman's kind of player that used to knock balls in off the lampshade, didn't have a clue where the cue ball was going, suddenly found out how to play position, and now not only is he one of the greatest break bowlers in the game, he's still one of the greatest potters in the game.
And a test of that coming up here.
An excellent kiss on the black has left the pink available. And as we say many times, the first 50 in a break, as we see that red disappear, is quite difficult. The last 50 is quite easy, so now the reds are spread. Even though he's 50 behind, he has every chance of taking this opening frame.
Runner-up, of course, to Judd Trump in the International Championship. Robertson led 8-6, lost 10-8 in the final. That means he's played in the final of 8 major world ranking tournaments and won 6 of them. And he has won an event this season, the Gdynia Classic in northern Poland, one of the players to a championship series, defeating Jamie Burnett in the final 4-3.
Whichever colour he decides to play is difficult with the cue ball being near the cushion. Good pot that, and it looks to be an excellent positional shot. What a beautiful shot that was. Very well played. Amazing enough, that's probably the shot of the night so far.
15. Absolutely on the button, wasn't it?
Lost the cue ball again. It is the first frame, of course, and you don't really settle or don't get to know the speed of the table till the frame has been completed. It usually takes a frame to get the pace of the table. Another excellent shot. Just an inch more of pace would have been nice, but he can still go up for the blue.
21.
Cutting back into a blind pocket, never easy though, especially in a period of the match, as Willie said, when he's not really settled down yet. Oh, now normally when you hit the near jaw
22.
to that extent, they don't go.
I don't think it should have gone. There's a lovely angle on the blue to play the little cannon into the red next to the pink, should he want to. As you see, this red caught that near jaw quite thick, didn't it? Just a slow cannon into the red and pink will suffice. Not necessarily going to play that, but that is a choice. Didn't quite get the desired kiss. He did play the cannon into the red next to the pink, but caught it a little bit thin.
27.
By the way, I was just mentioning that Robertson won that Gdynia Classic in Poland. I actually watched that final, actually in Poland, but not at the tournament. I was out in Kielce, in the southern half of the country. I've been commentating on the World Pool Masters. Now that's coming your way on Sky Sports over the coming weeks and months, and if you get the chance to watch that, please do so, because it was an absolutely cracking tournament.
35.
I'm not going to give anything away, but there was real entertainment there.
Meanwhile, he doesn't have the perfect angle on the black. You can see he's going to have to play this very, very pacey to try and get onto that red that's just to the right of the pink there. He's played that beautifully. He is a class out, this young man.
42.
A family man now, of course. He has a son that's 2.5 years of age, and he's just
43.
moved into a lovely house in the Cambridge Newmarket area. A very happy young man at the moment. Practices at my club in Cambridge, the WT's club in Cambridge. Practices a lot with Joe Perry.
50.
proprietors of that club, Smith
51.
and Steve McNamara, are very proud to have two such great players residing at their club. This is the key shot. If it gets nicely on the yellow, should win the first frame. That's come off that last cushion very quickly.
57.
Certainly a lot higher than he expected.
Well, the mayor's taken his coat off
59.
and the gloves are off in this match. What a blow it would be for Ding. What a boost it would be for Robertson to steal the frame. Bear in mind, when he came to the table for this contribution, he trailed by 53 points.
$62.
9 points the difference, so brown and blue will leave Ding requiring a snooker.
Hasn't played this very well.
66.
Yeah, I think he must have misread the scoreboard. I think he must have thought that was game ball. Okay, you'd fancy him to knock this in, but it left it a lot more difficult than he would have liked. But is anything difficult for this young man when he's in full flight?
Neil Robertson, 71.
One snooker needed. Ding can't quite work out what's required. It's 18 the difference, 13 on. One snooker needed. Of course, he's got to carry on.
He did actually nod in concession there. I wonder what the rule is there. Can you change your mind? Obviously you must be able to.
Let me tell you, you can change your mind, because he packed in when he was 9-3 down against Ronnie O'Sullivan in the Masters final, and they talked him back into going out into the arena after the interval to finish off the match.
Wasn't he thinking it was best of 17?
No.
Really?
No, definitely not. And one of the people who were really kind to Ding on that occasion, because it was a hard experience for him, was Ronnie O'Sullivan himself. Very compassionate, put the arm round him and said, "Don't worry." Ding came back out and they finished off the match as it should have been.
What an excellent try this is. What an excellent try that is. Especially if he's covered the left-hand side cushion, which I think he has. He can't play the swerve. This, amazingly enough, is missable. He's got two chances here. If he doesn't hit it direct, he can hit it off two cushions playing this way, and of course he knows that he won't be leaving a pot on should he miss it.
Foul.
Well, would you believe it? Just when you thought it was safe.
Well, in the first frame of Higgins-Ebden, Higgins missed a snooker by a distance because he couldn't quite work out the throw off the cushion, and I think it was the same with Robertson there.
Got to be a little bit careful here, Ding. He'll have every idea where the cue ball's going, but to get the object ball saved here is going to be tough. Oh, this is another excellent shot, isn't it? Boy, he knows his way around the table, this young man.
Two great players. One great frame here.
Very, very good. Now, is it worth playing the double? It's a very, very easy safety shot. Pink in behind the black and white, two cushions in behind the brown spot area, but he's coming to look at the angle on the double. He knows that this will hurt. You know, very rarely do you see players play doubles, but this could really hurt Neil if he plays a double and gets it. How's it looking? Obviously played the snooker, didn't fancy the double. Very, very fortunate there. He's got a lot of choice there because he can't hit it hard enough to play the cross double. The pink will be going right over the left hand corner. He didn't have any choice there but to play the pot, but he's played it in such a way he had every chance of getting it safe. Robertson only needs one ball.
Well, Ding's resilience has been admirable, but will it come to nothing? Talk about the pendulum swinging.
Yes, is it too good, didn't he? I mean, if he gets further away from the pot, the pink comes away from the board cushion. The fact that he got so close to the pot kept it down that end of the table, and this would be the steal of all steals, wouldn't it?
6.
This will hurt Neil Robertson.
Truly
Junhui
unbelievable.
6.
He didn't just miss that black, he missed it by a mile.
Well, I can only suggest he's got down thinking I'll roll it in and think, oh no, I'll stun it in, and change his mind on the shot. That is probably the easiest black I've seen Ding miss in his career.
And that wasn't Robertson's fault, that was a massive kick.
I agree. That was an awful kick. That is unbelievable. Absolutely squared up this. Look where the black hits. It hits about 4 inches away from the pocket. Amazing. Surely Ding won't miss this one.
Twice he thought he'd lost the frame, somehow Ding won it. Cracking start to the match. If the rest is as good as that, we're in for a treat. Welcome back to Spennymoor Leisure Centre in the northeast of England. Welcome back to the partypoker.com Premier League, the final qualifying evening. Now that is Group B, it is complete. Judd Trump, top of the group, John Higgins, number 2. So Higgins will play the table topper in Group A, which is Stuart Bingham. Now we're 5 frames away from the completion of the round-robin phase of the tournament. Ding Junhui and Neil Robertson playing for the last semi-final place. Ding needing just a draw to go through. Robertson has to win the match to make the playoffs. And what a first frame. If you're just joining us, Ding went off with a 53 break. Robertson hit back with 71. Ding needed a snooker with pink and black left on the table.
Robertson to break.
He got the snooker. eventually potted the pink, missed a black off its spot. You thought he's thrown the frame away. Robertson gets down to pot the black, suffers an explosive kick, and Ding didn't make a mistake with his second bite of the cherry. We've had a couple of tweets about why he was allowed to carry on there. When you concede, which is true. I just don't understand that situation to be one where maybe the nod wasn't a concession.
I can only think he misread the scoreboard. He probably looked at the scoreboard first time and thought he needed more than one snooker. Usually in the top class snooker now, whenever a player needs above 2 snookers, they concede. And maybe, I think Paul Collier has said, did you mean concede? And then he realised he'd made a mistake and said no. I think it was just a misunderstanding.
I think so. There was no verbal communication there, was there, at all? So. Of course, you do see frames conceded where someone needs 1 snooker on the late colours, but not very often.
I saw Quinton Han concede with 14 reds on the table. That's when he was having a little bit of a head loss though at the time.
Well, I remember one match with Quinton Han against Stephen Lee, I think it was, in a basketball arena in Tala. That was in Dublin in the Republic of Ireland. The match I can remember, he potted red, blue, red, missed the next ball and conceded 7-0 up.
Yeah, Quinton Han was another player from Australia, probably almost, I mean, you'd have to say Eddie Sharp was the best player before Neil Robertson came along, but Quinton Han was a very, very good player, got involved in a little bit of jiggery poetry, of course, and got banned and decided not to play again. Both these players very apt in the safety department, didn't really want to come into the brown, but he's covered everything on the right hand side. Anything that he's done, he's left a very easy chance for Neil to get in behind brown and green here. He can either swing it around 3 cushions or just play 2 cushions thin. And the green and brown are a very, very big target, as you can see. Just about. Perfect.
Now, just to repeat, Robertson has to win the match. A draw will not be sufficient. If it is a draw, Ding will go through on the superior frames won and lost record. And so from here, Robertson has to win 4 of the next 5 frames. Tall order.
Not playing the pot here, just playing a little roll up. Oh, he's missed them, hasn't he?
Foul. And a miss. Neil Robertson 4.
Just played cushion first to kiss the red half ball and hopefully leave the white on this jaws of this top corner pocket. So he's just playing cushion first, hit the second red, then the white would go very close to the going in off, and that's you have to make sure though he didn't kiss it too thick. He'll play the same shot again.
Okay, yeah.
So he's trying to hit it half ball. He doesn't want to hit it full ball because he'd leave a red in the middle. That's the reason he's trying to make sure he hits it thin. Find himself in exactly the same position after this next shot, probably a little bit closer to the green and brown. Oh, that was completely mishit. Answers on a postcard what he played there. I can only presume he played it very, very thin and hit it on the wrong side. He's trying to swerve around this the green and trying to hit this red very thin, but he's hit it so high up the cushion. Look, he's played to it the right hand side of the red and he's hit the left hand side. What a double shot that was, unfortunately. He's going to find himself snookered.
1.
And with that red going over the left hand side middle, this is going to be very, very tough to get safe. I would hazard a guess, Phil, he's almost bound to leave a red on with this next shot.
Yes, William, it's one of those frames, isn't it, where the reds have opened up nicely, and the first mistake could be costly.
Foul.
Well, was that one of the old
Neil Robertson 1.
hit and hope?
Junhui 7.
His fellow countryman was the first person to play the old hit and hope, Eddie Charlton. There's no rest there. If he rested on the black, you see, it would have left an easy red on. So he's just trying to hit it hard and just hope he got safe. That could have cost him his place in this tournament, because Ding Junhui, should he win this frame, and needs one of the remaining 4.
I know, Willie, we're of a similar opinion about Ding. Absolutely fantastic player. And I think if he were to win the World Championship, it wouldn't be just great for him. I think it would be tremendous for the sport as well.
I'm just trying to work out what the the problem is with Ding. I mean, his temperament has to be slightly suspect, because he's got everything, hasn't he? Great putter, great break builder, very good safety player, good tactician. So the only thing that could be missing is temperament.
Well, when he had his best run at the Crucible, getting to the semi-finals, his safety play was outstanding.
13.
And his attitude as well.
14.
He was prepared to get stuck in. And I think if he does that on a more regular basis, he's going to be the full player.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there. That's probably one thing he doesn't like. He doesn't like somebody kind of outplaying him in the break building department. It can be said that O'Sullivan sometimes, if somebody tries to bully O'Sullivan, if somebody's making centuries against him, Ronnie used to sometimes go in his shell. I think Ding does that. I think when he's getting his own way, he's almost unbeatable. I mean, I put him in the top 2 or 3 players in the world when he's playing at his best. But like I said, I just think there's something missing somewhere, and I can only think that's possibly temperament. Got a very good knowledge of the table there. Okay, the kiss didn't go absolutely perfect there, but he knows now he can pot this red and go around the back of the black to play the black into the same pocket. He'd probably have to ask for a timeout now. So the natural angle is just kissing the black if he goes on and off the cushion, so it's a little stun shot.
Time extension.
2 ways of playing it. You play a little stun and play on the black off 1 cushion, or you can screw around 2 cushions and still play for the black. Just played the 1 cushion. I was just going to say the 1 cushion escape.
26.
Positional shot and played to perfection. Stun through the gap now beyond those 3 reds in the opposite corner to the black. Could and maybe should be frame over.
.33.
Oh, we know what a fabulous player Neil Robertson is, but to win 4 frames on the trot against somebody the likes of Ding is going to be very, very tough indeed. That's going to be the equation should Ding take this frame. Neil can only sit there and just wonder. He played a very good shot on the plant on the red when he potted
41.
one red off the other end, but just lost the cue ball, and of course he left him with no shot. If that red hadn't have gone over the middle pocket, he could have played a safety
42.
shot, but didn't have one to play. That's the Jimmy Jib camera, we call that, the one that's almost very, very high up, and you can move it around right over the crowd's head.
49.
Back on the Jimmy Jib now, and what great pictures we're able to bring you with these different camera angles.
50.
It's amazing though, isn't it, when you have a frame like the last one, which could have
57.
swung either way.
58.
It always seems as though the player who loses a frame like that is destined to spend the next one sitting down.
And it's such a body blow as well. I mean, Neil, as we know, had an enormous kick. Okay, he hit the pink very, very hard
65.
in my opinion, and should have perhaps lost the frame without Ding missing that easy
66.
black, but it just really must have hurt him to see the kick he had on the final black. It was almost essential for him, wasn't it, Phil, to win the first frame?
Yes, and then of course left himself in a horrible position.
73.
Had to play the hit and hope. Left Ding straight in, and when you've got a player of this
74.
calibre with a chance like that, more than likely that opportunity is going to be converted.
And with the possible third century of the evening's play.
81. 82.
Very surprisingly, Ding hasn't made a century break yet in the Premier League of 2012. 96, his personal best during this campaign, but I think he's going to put that to rights here.
Well, you say that, Phil, but does the red next to the
88.
green pot? If it doesn't, he'll have to kiss it out. Well, he's left
89.
an angle on the blue to do just that.
Well, he's taken 2 or 3 looks at it, and there you can see, I thought it went, but obviously not. The kiss completed anyway, to perfection.
Absolutely wonderful shot. Wonderful shot. He had to play at that pace to make sure that he could have pushed the red towards the corner. We saw Neil Robertson's
95.
positional shot in the opening frame, which I suggested was the best shot of the night. That has just been overtaken. That was brilliant. Oh, still no century.
95 on the
Well,
frame,
denied
Junhui.
£1,000 bonus, but the main objective again achieved. It's Neil Robertson 0, Ding Junhui 2. Robertson has to win the last 4 frames. The semi-final lineup in the partypoker.com Premier League Snooker of 2012 is almost in place. Earlier this evening, Peter Ebdon beat John Higgins 4-2 in a match that didn't really matter in terms of who was going to make the playoffs. But the match that's currently in progress certainly does. Ding Junhui needs a draw to go through. Neil Robertson needs to win. And that means the Australian has no more leeway, no more wiggle room. He has to win the closing 4 frames.
Thank you. The third frame. Ding Junhui to break.
Yes, usually in this standard you're going to get a 1 chance a frame, and he's got 4 possible 1 chances to get that frame he needs. It's very unlikely Robertson could win 4 frames without giving Ding any chance at all. So this would be one of his best ever victories should he go on to win this match, Neil, especially by the scoreline he needs, 4-0. Oh dear.
Quizzical look on the face. He played that shot thinking the only red he could possibly leave was the one he went for, which was true. Trouble is, he has left it. Pretty straight, mind you.
One.
Ding no stranger to the playoffs. He was the runner-up last year. Made the final, beaten 7-1 by Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Yes, it was an excellent first positional shot that from Ding. He had to come on and off the cushion to get onto the pink in the middle. And Robertson's having a tough time in the league at the moment, having lost his previous match 6-0. He's now lost the opening 2 frames of this match, so he's now lost 8 frames on the trot. That's equivalent to 8,000 quid, isn't it? Losing 8 on the trot.
Eight.
Very aggressive break builder is Ding Junhui, and with the black being off its spot, he took that chance there to bring the pink straight into play, and he couldn't have played it better. You might get the chance to show you that again, because it's so essential when you're playing this blue at pace.
13.
You have to hit the pink full. We might get a chance a little bit later on, you know, to show you. Just have a look at the way he played this blue now. Might get a chance to show you now. Now you've got to hit the pink full ball, and that's exactly what he did. Well played. Now this could be end of tournament for Neil Robertson. Ding Junhui in the balls. This is the frame he needs to guarantee a place in the semi-finals.
21.
Well, some big names have failed to qualify for the knockout phase of the event. The likes of 2005 World Champion Shaun Murphy,
22.
the world number 2 Mark Selby, Peter Ebdon, 2002 World Champion. And right now it appears as though the 2010 World Champion Neil Robertson is also on the way to elimination.
Well, it has to be said, Neil Robertson looks in great form. The 71 break he made from 53 behind was beautiful. Just hasn't had another chance. A little unlucky in the opening red, of course, where he played a shot to nothing, and the red unfortunately kissed into the black and left a very easy opening red. But Ding played an excellent first positional shot to get onto the pink in the middle.
36.
2 shots later he opened the pack from blue to pink, and now this has given him this chance.
$37.
Got to be careful here. Doesn't want to cannon the middle of the 3 reds because it could go wrong. So hit them both together, just get them out of the way. So he's hit the outside, which is the same thing. As long as he didn't hit the middle red of the 3, that was the only way it could have gone wrong. And that's the reason that there's a young fan again that watching. This is how break building should be done.
Obviously, snooker is all about technique. You have to have that. That's the bedrock. Then there's temperament. Then there's thought process. And when it comes to scoring, Ding's is full of clarity.
There's 2 happy supporters.
51.
A little wry smile there. They know that Ding's getting ever closer to the winning post in this frame, which will be the frame he needs to get into the semi-final.
He's trying to become the second Asian player to win the Premier League. Hong Kong's Marco Fu was the champion in 2003. Not too far from here, actually, in Sunderland. That was where the playoffs were played that year.
There's another player that sometimes he looks unbeatable, Marco Fu, then other times he doesn't look like he can pot a ball.
58.
One of those that always tinkers with his action. Ding Junhui, as far as I know, has never tinkered with his cue action. Doesn't have to, it's that good. Ooh,
Time extension.
better. That might be Sean Murphy's son, but he hasn't had a son yet. This has gone slightly wrong.
59.
Especially if it's dead straight. If this black is dead straight, not guaranteed to get onto the next red.
Well, let's put it this way, this black is a lot more difficult than the one he originally missed at the end of the first frame.
It's amazing, isn't it? You could almost feel that that was frame ball. You could see in his face, he knew that if he pots that, he's in the semi-final. That's how much pressure was on that shot.
And look at the position of the remaining balls on the table. A clearance here, very much a possibility.
Yes, we said that the first frame. He got up to the pink and missed the pink. Oh, this would be a turnaround, wouldn't it? A number of times we see it when game and match ball, which that was. It was match ball. Is missed. Oh, that's not very good. Played it, hit it a lot thinner than that, which meant the white would come into open play. The fact that it hit it so thick took the pace out of the cue ball. That's end of break.
Neil Robertson.
Ding will be a very, very relieved man that missing that black on the previous visit only cost him 8 points. Well, that's flew off the cushion. That wasn't as bad a shot as it looked. It bounced off the cushion and gained pace.
Yes, the red made contact with the blue, but the blue is back out in the middle of the table.
Well, he's been very lucky, Ding, there, not to have left a red on. And that's come off quick as well. Maybe it's the heat that we get these bounces off cushions sometimes. It's very, very warm, certainly in the commentary box, and I know that a few people in the audience have been kind of using a fan to cool themselves down. Sean Robertson there doing a little bit of mental arithmetic, just seeing if he could take a couple of baulk colours with the clearance should he get a chance.
It is very warm in here, isn't it, Willie? Wow, we've commentated, Willie and I, in places like Dubai and Thailand over the years, and the commentary box has been delightfully cool. Here we are in Spennymoor in November, and it's boiling.
He's that cue ball to bounce. He hasn't got all the margin of error here. He's now 50 points behind. Okay, there's still 59 on. So he may decide to play a snooker this time. Neil Robertson, just to remind everybody, has to win the remaining 4 frames of this match to stay in the tournament. If he loses any one of the remaining 4 frames, he's out. Wow, what a pressure shot that was. Very well played.
We have seen comebacks in this year's Premier League. The one that sticks in my mind was up in Carlisle, where Stuart Bingham was off like a train against Sean Murphy, led 3-0 and 51-0 in frame 4. Missed a ball to a middle pocket he should have potted. Murphy came back to salvage a draw.
That could have scuppered things a little, putting the black safe and a red safe. It's unlikely he will clear at this visit now. Amazingly enough, even though the black's looking safe at the moment, ideally he would pot the 3 reds and 3 colours and then try and move the black off the brown. He may even decide to bring the black into play here, but it's a little bit risky. He needs to get some points on the board. He played to bring the red into play and missed it. Luckily 30. For him, he's on a colour. Just playing to bring that red into play off the cushion and misjudged it. Unlucky. Unlucky. The wry smile.
16.
That was super thin.
Neil Robertson, 16.
And I'll tell you what now, Willie, these cushions are flying, aren't they?
A lot thinner than he meant to, is it? That's for certain. It's a poor shot, really, even though he's put the pink safe. Hit that a lot thinner than he wanted to. Just looking to see whether he can get through to the potting angle of the loose red. If he can, he'll take it on. Nearly came out with the old JV statement there. Where's the cue ball going? I'm sure JV's at home watching this match. Hopefully you're enjoying it, John. It's a pretty good standard. Well, this is dangerous, especially if he's playing a pot it and get on the pink. That's what he has done. As he got on the pink, he needs to travel a little bit. Beautifully played.
He will fight and then fight some more, Robertson.
What a fabulous pot that was. I don't think the red passes the green, but can he screw back and get on the red in the middle? He better hopes he can, because if the black's in the way, it doesn't pot. Oh, surely he's on.
7.
He is at half an inch away from being absolutely perfect.
He's not had the best of fortune, has he? Kick on the black in the first frame. Snookered himself early in the second. That led to Ding's 95 break. And now snookering himself again there, although on this occasion...
Neil Robertson, 7.
Damage. Well, can Ding snip it as thin as you like.
Well, that could be it. Lester, where is the cue ball going this time?
Wow.
Can you believe it? There's
Neil
more
Robertson,
twists and
4.
turns in this match.
Well, for a split second there, Neil Robertson's hopes of making the semi-finals were effectively over. Now they've been re-energised.
Can you believe the things that happen on a 12-foot by 6-foot snooker table? Incredible. And that could really hurt. You know, it's not beyond the realms of possibility now that Robertson, should he win this frame, could certainly win the next frame quickly, because Ding's head will be in a jam jar at the minute. Doesn't look happy there, does he? Well, I suppose in fairness, when potting the red, I mean, the pockets never move, they've always been there, so you'd expect somebody of Ding's ability to know that the cue ball's going somewhere near the pocket.
Ding's best friend at the moment, the black ball, awkwardly placed, the only ball that is. Robertson trying to flick it out, and again not quite succeeding.
Well, he may feel that it's still pots. You think he'd actually knocked it a little bit nearer the cushion. He's just coming around to have a look if he can get. He's also had a look at the double, so maybe he's going to try and get an angle on the pink to move the black. If the angle's not there, he may decide to leave a double. So here's the angle he's got. Now he's trying to leave an angle 14. To try and move the black, but I don't think he's got that angle. We'll just have a little look at the angle he has on the pink. Too straight. Now, there's only one opportunity here to pot it, that's play the double, but is it worth the risk at this stage of the game? He has to win this frame.
Oh no.
No, you're kidding me. You're kidding me. You're kidding me. Wow.
20.
You can't make this up.
Oh no. Oh no!
Robertson said oh no, and it just about stopped.
Is he playing the double? He is playing the double.
Wow. 27 on the frame.
Neil Robertson's semi-final ambitions are still alive. What a frame. This is the double that's kept Neil Robertson in the tournament. Talk about brinkmanship from the Australian. He still needs to win the closing 3 frames of the match to win the contest and to go into the semi-finals, but he's still alive. Ding hasn't done the job just yet. You see there on frames 1, Ding has got a slight advantage at the moment. That means if he draws this particular contest, he goes through,
Frame 4,
and Robertson
Neil
goes
Robertson
out.
to break.
But you just sense momentum might have shifted.
Well, we've had 3 unbelievable frames. The first frame was almost an identical frame to the last frame, where it went down to the final black. At any time, we didn't realise who was favourite. I just wonder whether that's going to dent Ding's confidence. We'll know after this shot. I think it has. He missed that by the proverbial mile.
It's bad enough being on the verge of doing what you've got to do and missing a ball, but when you actually pop one and going off, especially with the cue ball travelling such a distance, that's hard to take. It's like climbing almost to the summit of the mountain and slipping back down.
5 numbers in the bonus. Unlucky, isn't it? Well, very rarely do you see doubles played in professional snooker. We've seen 2 doubles in as many shots, both in the same pocket. First one won the frame. I just wonder whether that double will lead on to a possible frame winner.
Four. Five.
You saw Neil stop in his tracks there, didn't you, Phil? You were talking about how much the cushions are bouncing. Excuse me, that definitely bounced higher than he expected. Look at this again. It's flying off this cushion now. I think the cue ball needs cleaning with a damp cloth.
Wow.
Could be a little bit of grease on the cue ball. With the referee's gloves, putting it on and off the table. This needs good cueing. Well played. Anything but straight.
13.
Straight, it sounded great.
Not easy, particularly at that pace. Thankfully, though, the black is preventing Ding potting a red to the right-hand middle pocket. Could have been worse. Robertson's pot success rate below the 90% mark, which is considered these days the benchmark, isn't it?
Yes, in all departments, safety as well as break building has to be above 90% if you're going to go on a winner match, but this has been a strange sort of match. There's been some very, very good safety played. Got a chance of getting right back into port now, playing it very thin round the back of the black and behind the green. That's the general path of the cue ball. A bit harder, would have probably got right in behind the green as well. So normal service resumed. It's a big target behind yellow and blue this time. Mind you, that red's gone perilously close to the corner. And he's left it. Now should he pot this and go into the pack, spread them out, hopefully get the pink into play. The black's there, should it kiss okay. So this is another half a chance for Ding to get a foothold in this frame. He decided to play for baulk colour, which I'm surprised. Any sort of kiss on the reds just just above the black there would have been fine. If he's on this yellow nicely in the middle, it's been fortunate.
Yes, a fact he acknowledged. Held his hand up to Neil Robertson saying sorry for his positional fortune.
Well, it's absolutely perfect, isn't it? The angle was perfect to get onto a red. And he's played the gap beautifully. He played exactly what he got there. Very, very good shot. So that bit of good fortune has given him another chance to get into the semi-final.
Yes, Willie, and as we've said on several occasions so far this evening, Ding is an absolute magician in amongst the balls. Just a reminder, sorry for any repetition, but it is really important this. If Junhui gets to 3 frames and guarantees a draw, that is that. He's in the semi-finals, and Robertson will not take part in the knockout phase.
12.
After this red, it's just that one loose red. I don't think there's any other loose reds that will pot, so ideally you would like to get onto the black off this red to move, play into the pack. He doesn't really want to leave it off the final black. While you've still got a loose red, it's always better to get into them then, because that loose red's still there.
Just needs to forget about what happened in the previous frame and play the balls. Now that sounds simple enough, but it's not simple to do. Psychologically, it's easy to dwell on what's gone before.
20.
And there's another example of that. He didn't really get into that cue ball here. Okay, the black is possible. He'll play the cannon on the 2 reds to the left of the bunch there, just to hold the cue ball, but this could go wrong. The pot's not a certainty. I got a kick there though. That was a horrible kick.
20.
And one of the telltale signs of a kick when it's a directional kick is that players miss the ball on the thick side of the pocket. It happened with Robertson's kick on the black that decided the first frame. It happened there as well.
It's amazing now you get away with it sometimes. I don't think Neil will take this pot on and screw back on and off the side cushion for the black. Wow.
1.
You've got to take your hat off to these players that almost second nature is winning. They're not frightened of winning. Robertson has been out of this game on 3 occasions and he's still fighting there with a chance.
Eight.
Wouldn't it be amazing, Phil, if Robertson went 3-2 in front and the last frame
9.
was for all the money and the place in the semi-final, which is a possibility now.
I think everyone watching at home and the vast majority watching here would like to see that. I can tell you one person who wouldn't though.
16.
Ding. Over the years in the Premier League, you know as well as I do, Willie, you come to the final qualifying evening and sometimes every match is dead. All the issues have been determined. So to have one match that's alive
17.
is a good thing. Here tonight, it could be a situation where it goes down to the very final frame.
$23.
Very good. Now, what's the angle
24.
like on the black? It's absolutely perfect. And the right hand of the 2 reds is one he'd like to. But amazingly enough, this could actually stick on these. He's got to be very careful here. He might play it pacey to make sure it doesn't stick. It's okay.
$31.
So 24 in front, 3 reds, 3 colours, takes him level at 2-all, but still has to win the remaining 2.
32.
There's been so much unpredictable stuff in the match, I'm loath to make any kind of forecast. But looking at the table, 2-2 is very much on the cards.
35.
Well, I think the way these two players have played, I think it almost is deserved of going down to the final frame. That can only happen, of course, if Robertson wins the next frame as well to lead 3-2. Ding, of course, has still got 2 more bites at the cherry should he not win this frame, which looks very unlikely now.
$42. 43. 50. 51.
John Higgins will play Stuart Bingham in one semi-final.
Blue ball.
Judd Trump still doesn't know who he'll play in the other.
$56. 58. 61. 65. 70.
Drama and quality coexisting in this match. Ding has made breaks of 53, 95 and 59. Robertson 71.
Foul. Neil Robertson,
And there
70.
a break of 70. He's back on level terms. The dream is still alive. 2-2. It's match night 10 in the partypoker.com Premier League Snooker of 2012. Earlier this evening here in Spennymoor, Peter Ebdon beat John Higgins 4-2. Higgins making a couple of century breaks in the 2 frames he won. Now it's Neil Robertson 2, Ding Junhui 2. If Robertson wins the match, he goes into the semi-finals. Ding just needs 1 more frame and a draw to advance. Stuart Bingham already sure of his place in the knockout phase. Bingham has won 3 of his matches, drawn the other. And of course it was Bingham's 6-0 victory over Robertson that placed the Australian in such a deep hole, and that's why he's coming into this match trying to go through by the skin of his teeth. So it could not be closer for qualification. 2 frames left in the entire round-robin phase of the event, Willie, and still we don't know who's going to be the 4th semi-final.
Absolutely. I mean, if Ding wins it, he's obviously through. If he loses it, he's still got one more chance. So obviously Robertson has to win the remaining 2 frames, and I think in fairness this match deserves maybe Robertson to win the next frame and to see what happens, because it would be great to have a 1-frame shootout for all the cash and a place in the semi-final. Robertson, for all money, was out of the tournament a few moments ago, and somehow he's put up with a barrage of breaks, you know, 250s and 90, and he's still in the match.
If you're just joining us, the story of the match so far: Ding won the opening frame on the black after requiring a snooker on the pink. He then made a 95 break for 2-0. He potted the last red to leave Robertson requiring a snooker in the 3rd. It seemed all over by the shouting, but the cue ball ran in off. Robertson cleared the colours to win that one on the black, and he's just won frame 4, aided by a break of 70. So everything to play for.
Well, it's an aggressive safety shot he's playing here. Be bringing reds into play, playing the slightly thicker safety shot. The only problem is he could push a red over the corner. Now, Ding, do you take this on? Normally he would, but I'm sure that he's feeling very uncomfortable out there at the moment. Has he found a plant? He's looking at the 3-ball plant. See, your mindset is so different. No, if this had been a best of 9 match, he'd be taking this pot on, this long red, but he's not playing it. Instead, he's played an excellent safety.
I will say this: whoever is the unlucky player to go out of the tournament will be sorry to see them go.
I think this is short. What a judge,
Foul.
eh? What a judge, Phil.
Ding Junhui 4.
Ding is given the option here of having the balls replaced.
A little bit different. You can see the red to the right of the pink, couldn't you? Alright.
Looks like he's going to attempt the same shot again. Didn't want to hit that red, he played to hit the one below it. There may be a pot on here. Well, all 3 reds pot, but there's a bit of pressure on this opening red. He's changing his mind on the shot. That's something he does quite a lot. Not to be recommended.
One.
It's not going well for Ding at the moment. Well, is he going to risk the green thin off not on so he can play it with confidence, but this green is not straightforward. Very well played. Very well played.
Wasn't it just? That was a good shot. at any stage of any match. Given the circumstances, exceptional. Now will it open the floodgates?
No, unless you can get the black onto its spot. The pink out of commission at the moment. It looks a little bit too straight to get close to the black from here.
Time extension.
So maybe you're going to have to screw back for the blue or bought colour. Or run through off 2 cushions. Surprised he didn't hit that a lot harder than that.
5.
You saw there Ding Junhui asking Paul Collier for the time extension. 2 are allowed in every frame, and so Ding has just 1 of them left.
Hence the little spurt in pace there. He was just going around the table. He doesn't really want to use both his extensions so early on in the frame, just in case when it comes to the snooker's required stage or something like that, when the time is needed.
10.
The other common use of the extension is when you're in a break building position and you're in something of a dilemma. You're not quite sure which shot to play.
I could bring the pink into play here if he really gets into this cue ball. That's what he tried.
11.
See, if he'd have caught that first red a lot thinner, that would have got a lot more pace in the cue ball and would have probably brought the pink into play. It's a similar situation to what Neil was in a few moments ago.
Well, he can see the black direct, but there's no future in that. Such horrible cueing, and so he's trying to come off a cushion to make contact with the ball colour.
And because he had to play it so quickly, that could be a mistake. It could be a free ball.
11. Neil Robertson 4.
Of course, that wouldn't happen if you had time to play the shot. Now, there's plenty of mileage here in Neil playing to, say, maybe pot the green in the corner and play for brown or yellow. At least that's a shot to nothing. There's no advantage in just playing the snooker here, really.
Play from there. Okay.
He's asking Ding to actually play from there, so it must be rather a tricky situation. Ding can see this red, I think, and he can play it very thin. Well, surely if you can see this red, he shouldn't put him back into play. I mean, if this safety shot goes right, he's put himself in trouble. But it hasn't, so well done, Neil. You took the right choice.
Could the round-robin phase of the event come down to one single final frame? That would be a rarity. It's happened before, but anytime a match is live going into the last evening, we're happy. 10 weeks all around the country, all parts, north, south, east and west, and
3.
now it can come down to one single frame.
Four. Nine. Ten.
Robertson's one of those players who has that winning mentality, and he'll actually be embracing the pressure here. He'll be enjoying this. Certain players shy away from pressurized scenarios. I think he views them as a challenge.
Yeah, especially scrappy frames like this. You know, I mean, this is a real tough frame to make a sizable break with both black and pink being out of play. Well, he completely mishit that there. He didn't play to cannon those reds. He played just to get onto the 2 reds just to the left of the black spot. He mishit that completely. But it says it wasn't a frame-winning opportunity where black and pink were, so he's going to need a good pot to keep the frame going, or keep the break going. Oh, I did fancy him to pot that, I've got to be honest. Now Ding.
Neil Robertson, 15.
Okay, the pink and black are out of play, but just get 20 or 30 points in front.
Now that was beautifully controlled.
Well, Phil, there's a bit of mileage here, playing the pot this blue and bringing the black into play. Okay, it's risky, it could go wrong. But if you can play the little cannon off the blue onto the black here, okay, he's not guaranteed to get onto the two reds, but if he plays for a loose red, he's going to need that pink or black into play. He's not going to win the frame and match just off blues, and he's not playing the cannon, so it remains to be seen what's happening.
Never seems perturbed when those beeps come in.
6.
Just stays on the shot. Seems to completely ignore them.
And you'd have to suggest he's not a slow player, wouldn't you? So I'm surprised. There's been so many times this evening that that's happened.
7.
And there's a point in case I was making. You see, with pink and black out of play, it's so hard to continue a break. I suppose you could risk playing this pink dead weight, meaning that the
Time extension.
pink would stop right over the pocket to stop anything passing it, should he miss it. If it drops in, maybe it's going to be on a red. So he won't be playing this hard, he'll just play to drop this in. He's missed it. Needs that pink to cover the pocket, and I don't think it has.
Ding
I think
Junhui,
there's room through here.
During the course of the tournament, we always tell you about the financial implications. £1,000 a frame, £1,000 a century break. That's in the group phase. Oh no! Where's the cue ball? Has it run such a distance to leave Robertson unable to pop the pink? Well, he can get through just about. I was about to say, with those financial implications, that if you get to the semi-finals, you're on an additional £12,500. and you're still in with a chance of picking up the £50,000 first prize. So big stakes, aren't they?
7.
He'd love to play for the black here, but it's not the shot. He's going to have to play for the pink, because the pink's in open play. You'd expect him to pot the pink
8.
without any problem. So the fact that the pink's back into play now, we could have that situation where the final frame is going to mean absolutely everything.
And when Ding led 2-0 and potted the red to the middle pocket
14.
to effectively seal it, who would have thought this could have come to pass?
15.
Yes, and apart from a couple of very twitchy little shots, it's been excellent snooker. We've had a 50 above in every frame so far. Could this be the first frame
21.
we haven't? Took a risk there,
22.
playing the cannon. Wasn't guaranteed to come out okay, but he's such a good long potter, he's left the blue in the corner. Beautiful cue action, hasn't he? Just wondering whether they'll shake hands before the final
27.
frame. Obviously, normally you would do, but of course it could be
28.
a draw, couldn't it?
Well, it is the decider, and there's no animosity between these two, so I think we will see a shake of hands. I think Ding's entitled to a shake of head.
Mine would have dropped off in my day if things would have happened like this to me. Ding can only hope that he misses this red, because if this red disappears, you'd expect him to pot the colour he needs.
The break goes to 35. Robertson's lead with a pink is now sufficient for Ding
41
to require a snooker.
Neil Robertson 41.
No head shake from Ding there.
Look at the points scored, 281 for both players. Looks as though Robertson's going to edge ahead on the frames though. But Ding will not be throwing in the towel just yet. He won the first frame after requiring a snooker. How about the fifth?
Little unlucky there. If the red makes contact with any one of the bought colours, it would have virtually been a snooker. Well, that puts the frame beyond doubt. And now we have a final frame shootout, which we'll be having again in January.
You know, normally in the round robin phase, if you win a frame, you win £1,000. The player who wins the next frame,
8.
Frame number 6 here this evening, effectively that will be worth an extra £13,500. Pressure or what?
12.
Well, Robertson came here this evening knowing what he had to do. So far, he's done it, but he still has to win one more frame.
$17 on the frame. Neil Robertson.
The resilient Aussie has proved so stubborn. He's 3-2 ahead, but he still needs the last frame to go through. All of those frames, all of those matches in the Premier League snooker in the round robin phase, which began in August, and it comes down to a single frame. If Neil Robertson wins it, he's in the semi-finals. Same goes for Ding Junhui. The last frame of the evening, the last frame of the group phase.
Thank you, the final frame.
And all the marbles resting upon it.
Neil Robertson to break.
Well, both players didn't do the handshake, which we expected, because it's a little bit unusual, isn't it, when you're playing a 6-frame match, but they both know that this is like the deciding frame of a major championship.
Whoever loses the frame, quite obviously, will be very disappointed. But the way the match has gone, I think Ding's level of disappointment will be considerably greater than that of Robertson.
Yeah, I think he's won the match twice, hasn't he? And all of a sudden now is could be 15 minutes away from losing it. My, what a pot this is, by the way. What a pot this is. Goodness me. Congratulations to Junhui. That has showed plenty of bottle.
And even by potting it into that half of the pocket meant he held the cue ball more easily for the black, so it was extraordinary.
Eight.
I'm not too sure whether he can play for the black here, because he's going to be running away from the black, so he may just play it for blue or board colour just to keep everything under control. Now, there is a loose red on, but look at the angle he's got on the blue. He can go straight into the pink here. Now, a lot of players would play for the loose red, but 90% of the best break builders in the game go straight in the pink. And there's the reason why, because you're going to be very unlucky not to win, I think. Congratulations, and well played.
Warmly appreciated, and quite rightly so.
14.
Absolutely on the nose.
I can think of half a dozen players that would play for the loose red there. That just shows you why you've got to play that shot. The pluses so far
15.
outweigh the negatives on playing a shot like that.
Well, we were hoping for a mini classic this evening between these two, and boy, have they delivered. And there's a large part of me that is pulling for Ding here, because he had a lot of bad luck with that in-off in frame 3. And the way he's taken the bull by the horns at the start of this frame,
23.
I think has to be applauded.
Yeah, and I don't think Neil can be disappointed, really, having lost 6-0 to Bingham in the previous game. Knowing what he had to do tonight was win the match. He's given himself that chance to win the match. All you're asking for in that position is to get a chance in the final frame. He might not get that chance, because this has come off the break-off.
30.
I think the way the match has gone for, you're quite right in saying, you know, pulling for Ding, because, you know, like you said, potted game ball, 31. I think, twice.
The Chinese sporting public hold Ding in very high regard, and quite rightly so. He's a superb ambassador for their country, not just in the level of his success, but also in the way he plays the game. And I think if he went through into the playoffs, the tournament would benefit.
I think he's the second most popular sportsman, isn't he? I think the basketball guy who plays in the American League is just slightly better known, but Ding, certainly as far as sport's concerned, is one of the most recognisable in China. Robertson has played such a big part in this game, and as I mentioned a few seconds ago, you just want one chance in the final frame, and he might not get a
43.
chance.
Well, I think that's been the most entertaining aspect of this match, its unpredictability.
48.
And given the progression
49.
of the contest, I think it would also be entirely unpredictable if Ding were to win this frame in a single scoring visit, considering the fact he's under so much pressure.
It's been a brilliant match, hasn't
56.
it? It's been absolutely superb. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. We've got a kick there. He's got a kick there. This black is now taking the cue ball away from the desired position. He may have to play a cannon here, and if he plays the cannon with check side, he could miss the black. Could there be another twist in this game? Look at the little bit of right hand side he's putting on, just a cannon into the 3 reds. Not guaranteed this. Could it this one thick? Is it thin? Can you believe it? Can you believe it?
Ding Junhui 57.
We've had some twists, haven't we?
And again, Ding was so unlucky.
Surely he can't clear from here. Oh, the twists and turns in this game.
1.
Well, this is the chance he's wanted, he was hoping to get. That's what you ask for, one chance. He's been given that chance now. Okay, the reds look very precarious as far as a frame of match-winning break is concerned, but he's left-handed, so the 2 reds down that side of the table, and no real problem.
8.
Ding knows that could have been his last shot.
Nine.
Hit the black too thin, even though he potted it. That's why he lost control of the cue ball. 6th position.
Oh, end of break. I didn't see that coming. Ding will be absolutely delighted to have got back to the table so
Robertson
soon.
16.
He would have fancied getting back to the table, but maybe with only 1 red left.
Well, the only positive for Robertson there is that he's got one of the awkward reds into mid-table.
Time extension.
Quite rightly asked for an extension there, because this is very, very tough. This safety shot needs to be played to perfection. Needs that red to slow down. It has done. May force Neil now into taking this red on. Well, I think you can see the red in baulk, so the safety shot is pretty straightforward. I wasn't sure I could see that.
And again you see the different agendas. Ding, with a 41-point lead, wants to see balls tied up. He wants to see balls awkwardly placed. Robertson wants them out in the open.
Well, he may play this very, very thin. As long as he doesn't catch the jaws of the corner pocket. Could put a red safe here. He's gone for the pot. Why on earth would you do that? Why on earth would you do that?
Another quite springy bounce there. The pink will pot.
And it may turn out to be in his favour this, because he'll have to play for the red that's nearest the cushion, because the pink goes back in its own spot and he can't see that red. So the difficult red is now in play.
7.
Wow, this is unbelievable.
At the start of the night, Willie, we were thankful that it had come down to the last match. At the start of this frame, we were thankful it had come down to a decider. Will it come down to the final ball?
15.
Well, just needs to clear up. In his illustrious career, he's cleared up 2 reds and 2 colours on hundreds of
16.
occasions. but not with quite as much pressure as this. Well, he's had enough in potting game ball. He's had a kick in potting that would have been game ball.
23.
Robertson is just 6 shots away from getting into the semi-finals.
24.
You really have to feel for Ding Junhui. The kick was a horribly timed kick. But what stubbornness. What tenacity from Robertson.
$33.
8 points adrift. He needs green to pink.
$36.
And again, an explosive reaction off that ball cushion. The cue ball has travelled far more than he anticipated.
I don't think I've ever seen a match with so much excitement as this.
45.
Incredible.
Was Houdini Australian? No, he wasn't. But Neil Robertson most certainly is a fighting Australian. He's beaten Ding Junhui 4-2 from 2-0 down. He's into the semi-finals. And there you see exactly what it means to him. One of the best matches I've ever seen in the Premier League.
Yeah, a simply magical evening for Neil Robertson. Here's confirmation of the scores tonight, as we've just seen. Neil Robertson coming from 2 behind to earn maximum points, and he's congratulating me. I don't know why. He'll be over the moon. Here's confirmation of the other one. Judd and John go through after John got beat tonight, but it doesn't matter. It's all about the fella standing to my right. Neil Robertson finds himself in the last 4. Neil Robertson finds himself in the last 4. He will be playing Judd Trump, the world #1. Stuart Bingham and John Higgins make up the other semi-final. But he's with me now. I have to say, I started watching snooker in 1984, and there are some matches that jump out at you, and for me, that was one of them. Congratulations on a simply magical fight back.
Yeah, it was. You know, the first frame, you know, the first few frames really had a pretty horrible run of the ball, which has sort of summed up my season a little bit. Although I've had a pretty good season, I've had a pretty bad run. But tonight looked as though it wasn't going to be my night. But yeah, I fought back really well. Sort of capitalised a lot of, you know, some of Ding's mistakes. And that Ding, I mean, obviously, you know, if Ding doesn't get the kick in on the red there in the last frame, you know, I go out and I miss out by a frame. You know, I've missed out by making the semi-finals in the Premier League twice by a frame already, so I didn't want to make it a third time. So yeah, you know, great clearance at the end under pressure, and yeah, very happy with that.
How did it feel for you? Because I was watching it, my heart was banging. It felt like a final out there, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. You know, the crowd were absolutely fantastic tonight for both matches, and yeah, you know, I had a lot of support tonight, which was great. And yeah, I'm just glad that you know, I'm sure everyone enjoyed tonight, especially the end. And
there was a moment you mentioned there where you nearly went out. You potted the red and the white went in as well. But for you, you had a pink into the corner, screwed the white back, nearly potted the white in the middle, then had to double the black.
Yeah, I know, it was absolutely incredible. I just got into the white a little bit too much, and I thought the white was definitely in. I thought about blowing at the white, but I think that might be a foul. So yeah, and then I knew the black was straight in. So and that gave me a chance, you know. Yeah.
We hear so often about players when they think they're going to lose the game, they sort of, the pressure goes and they relax a bit more. When you were 2-0 down, what were you thinking, sat in your chair?
I didn't really do a lot wrong, you know. I think, you know, I've been unlucky to lose the first frame, second frame, and then Yeah, just had to dig in. You know, that's what I always do, and yeah, you know, thrilled to get to the semis.
Congratulations, we'll see you Saturday week. You're in the last four. The brilliant Neil Robertson, everyone. Well done, Neil. We've got some major Q Sports coming up. Would you believe it's Moscone Cup time? It all starts on Monday, December the 10th for day one, live as always, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday from 7 PM on Sky Sports 2. Brilliant, what a great finale.
Well, I've played in the league a few times, and I've obviously commentated on probably 10 years of the league. That is the best match I've ever seen in the league. It was deserving of both players to go down to that position where obviously it was all on the last frame. Who should have won it? Probably Ding should have won the match, but you've got to take your hat off to Neil Robertson. Bottle personified.
And the kick at the end, that's going to hurt Ding as well. I mean, snooker so often changes with one shot.
Yeah. Well, he's potted a game ball, hasn't he, with the red and gone in off. That's cost him the game, where it was in the semi-final there. And of course the kick, if he rolls through, gets on the black, he's bound to get 70.
Can you talk about a name on the trophy? I said to John Higgins earlier, he sort of came in the back route with the wild card. A win like that for Neil, we must fancy his chances.
Absolutely, we've got 4 great players in the semis now, though, haven't we? Bingham's a man in form at the moment. He seems to be winning a lot of matches, and the semi-final lineup is superb.
Willie, always great to see you. Just time to remind you when you can see the semi-finals weekend. It's Saturday week. We have 2 major semis. Stuart Bingham, who's in amazing form at the moment, against 4 times champion of the world, John Higgins, and Judd Trump, the current world #1, against Neil Robertson. Wonderful stuff. It's been a great night of snooker, hasn't it? Oh, I need to get my breath back. Have a good evening. We'll see you Saturday week for more snooker.